One, two, 1, 2, 3. Hey guys, welcome to a new episode. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Ricky.
And we are
Paper Screen. So, Brittany, what have you been up to? What have you been reading, watching?
Sure. I'm reading Fairy Tale by Stephen King. It's his new release. I'm only like 20 pages in, but it's good.
Oh, nice.
Point of view of a kid, or he sounds like he's like 14 or 15, but yeah, it's I really like it so far, and I'm like in a book club, and some other people are reading it, so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun to talk about and everything, and we just
what's the book club?
It's just some folks that I know in Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's just like 4 of us. Half of us will finish whatever book we pick. The other half won't. Some of us start the book like a month after the other people. It's kind of a hot mess, but
oh my god.
But I think we're all gonna like burn through the Stephen King book though, because it's a little different.
Right.
He's a little special.
Yeah, because everyone loves Stephen King, I think.
Yeah.
He's got clout.
Clout chasing. What about you? What are you watching? What are you doing?
Well, I recently watched Do Revenge, which is amazing. It's on Netflix. It's got like that, teen comedy, like 90s, like, and like Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Heathers.
Clueless.
It's Clueless. All those movies, like, it's just all in one. And it has like a huge ensemble of actors, talent, because like the girl from Riverdale who plays Veronica, what's her name?
Is it Camille?
Yeah. And then yeah,
whatever.
Veronica from Riverdale, and it has Maya Hawke, and she's awesome in it too.
We love her.
Yeah. Do Revenge is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix.
So today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite movies this year called The Black Phone.
If you don't know what The Black Phone is, definitely check it out. It's a horror film that was one of the well-known movies that came out this summer. I feel like it gained popularity like before even the movie came out. So it's a horror thriller that's inspired by a short story by Joe Hill, who's the son of Stephen King.
His real name was Joe King.
Shut up.
He didn't want. No, I'm dead serious. But he didn't want to go by Joe King.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was not.
So his
kidding
like pseudonym is Joe Hill.
That's funny. Okay, because like I made a joke about that one time. I was like, oh, his name is Joe King. Good to know.
Stephen King has a good like sense of humor.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is The Black Phone about?
So the movie is about this kid. He's like 13 years old, and he's been abducted by this child killer, and he's locked in this soundproof basement, and there's this phone that's disconnected on the wall, and the phone starts to ring, and he receives calls from like the killer's previous victims.
Right.
So that's basically the story. It's starring Ethan Hawke, Mason Thames, I think that's how you pronounce the last name, and Madeleine McGraw. Directed by Scott Derrickson. If you know who he is, he's directed Doctor Strange, the first one, the good one.
The good one.
He also directed Sinister and Exorcism of Emily Rose. And the short story was written by Joe Hill, the spawn of Stephen King.
So the screenplay was written by Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill. But the original story comes from the book that's originally called 20th Century Ghost or 21st Century Ghost by Joe Hill.
I know you're scared and you want to go home. I'll take you home soon. It's just I gotta be upstairs for a while. Something's come up.
What?
Never mind. What?
Someone's coming. I'll scream. If someone's upstairs, they'll hear me.
With the door shut, no one can hear anything down here. I soundproofed it myself. So shout if you like, you won't bother anyone.
So let's talk about our first impressions. Like, what was your movie experience like?
So my movie experience was, I remember I was on a walk and I think you texted me and you were like, did you see Black Phone? And I was like, no. And I had like barely heard anything about it. I think I'd only seen the poster, and the poster's like Ethan Hawke's face, like a close up wearing this mask. And the mask is like a little different. It's like, it gives me like theater vibes.
Kind of has that. It's like if you watched American Horror Story Freak Show, the clown, he has that mask that covers his mouth.
Yeah, like it feels like the aesthetic or design of it feels like it could be from like Twisted Phantom of the Opera play or something.
Right.
It's not like Jason's mask, or it's not Michael Myers. Like,
yeah.
It's not as like haunting. It's more just like weird.
Yeah.
So you had texted me, and then I'm like, no, and you're like a lot of people are talking about it, and I'm like, okay, cool, because I avoid trailers.
Right.
I try not to watch trailers. I deliberately go to movies 20 minutes late to skip the trailers. So I go to the movie. I know nothing about it. I think I knew it was.
We went together, actually.
No, did we?
Yeah, we went together. I think I told you, like, oh, there's this movie called The Black Phone, and it's got good ratings, and like, I think we both were like, let's go see it. Let's go check it out, because like people are talking about it. And I mean, we were both kind of late already because it came out like a couple weeks already.
Okay, so you had asked me if I'd seen The Black Phone, and I hadn't, so we decided to go together, and all I knew about it was the poster, which is Ethan Hawke close up. It looks like what I would say could be like a Twisted Phantom of the Opera, like weird mask. Not really scary, but whatever. And so when I saw that poster, I knew nothing of the movie. Is it Blumhouse?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's all I knew, but I remember like looking at that poster, and when I see Ethan Hawke, I do not think horror. So I see that, and I'm just like, oh, it must be about like some weird like cult. Like he's some cult leader, and like he like trains, like he's some sort of dude who's gonna like train kids to like whatever. Like that's like what my brain did looking at that poster. So when we went to see it, I was like, I knew nothing about it, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I like cried.
Oh my God. Yeah, you really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
My first viewing, I was like, it was okay. But here's why. This movie was already getting hype around like, I want to say January.
Oh, wow. And when did we see it? Like
June?
Jeez.
Because it was supposed to be released in February. But because of like the COVID surges, like they pushed the release because of COVID, and they were scared like, oh, no one's going to go to the theater.
Right.
So they pushed it to summer. And
in horror movies, every horror movie should come out either in the summer or the fall. Period.
Yeah. So I heard about this film even before there was a trailer out, because it played at like Fantastic Fest maybe, which is a film festival in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, we should go to that.
Yeah, I want to. But I heard that it had positive reviews, and people like went in blind, like didn't know anything about the movie, and had a good time, and like they were calling it the scariest movie of the year. To me, that's a huge claim.
Yeah.
And so when someone says it's the scariest movie of the year, I'm like, oh, this movie is already going to be overhyped for me.
Right.
And then I finally saw the trailer. Please, if you see the trailer for this, like, avoid it, because it will tell you everything that happens.
I've never
in
seen the
movie.
trailer still.
Yeah. So the whole trailer will tell you what the whole movie is about. All the jump scares and like the plot, I was like already expecting it to happen.
That's what I'm saying. Trailers fucking suck.
I know. And like I have a love for making movie trailers, so I can't.
You want to know why people don't go to the theater? It's not because of COVID. It's because of fucking trailers.
Oh, yeah.
It's for, you know what I mean? Like I see trailers and I go, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
But like, okay, the only trailer that really surprised me, like how well they hid everything, was Barbarian.
Oh my God.
But back to The Black Phone, like I had high expectations because of this claim, like it's gonna be the scariest movie of the year. And so when I went to see it with you, I liked it.
But you're going in being told this is the scariest movie of the year. This was like shocking like audiences at festivals.
Exactly. And I was expecting to be like, you know, a very heavy dark, haunting movie, like, because there's children involved that are being murdered. And I was expecting, like, you know, a scene where, like, there's children being tortured or something, like, something disturbing. I mean,
something like it.
yeah, like, and it was not giving me that.
No.
It was, it felt tamed from what people were saying. But Ethan Hawke did a really amazing job, like, as the villain. But the child actors, they were okay.
Okay,
For me.
we'll get into it. But I want to just preface too, like, our relationship to film and especially horror. When I was a kid, horror was like that was like my thing. I would go to Mr. Movies and I would rent like horror movies I hadn't seen before and like movies that were like closely organized into horror. So when I was like in elementary school, I rented A Clockwork Orange.
Oh, nice.
Which, like, I don't know if I would say that's horror. It's more like disturbing psychological whatever.
Yeah.
But so I watched, and my brother and I would like watch these movies. But I watched like Jason, Freddy, Chucky. Chucky was like my first. Chucky and
I love Chucky.
And like It's Alive. Like I would watch this like, oh gosh, it was like on TNT or something. Actually, no, like I guess they're doing it again. I can't remember the host, but I know someone who made a short horror film, and that guy was gonna like play it and critique it or something. But it was something on TV called like Monster Vision, and I would watch all these like horror movies, and like I like love that shit. But then when I like all through high school, that's when they started really just like mass producing horror movies, and none of them were scary, none of them were creepy, none of them were original. That's when like marketing changed, and like my big like fuck you movie was Paranormal Activity. I mean, they were like, this is the scariest movie ever, and like audiences are fucking throwing up and like whatever. I go see it, and the whole movie I'm like bored. Also, I thought when Blair Witch Project came out, we rented it, thought it was super boring.
I felt the same way about Blair Witch, but Paranormal Activity was different for me. But I would have to say Paranormal Activity 3 is way better.
I didn't see that one, but
it gets better because, you know, it kind of deals with like cults and stuff.
Oh, nice.
But anyways,
love cults.
Yeah. So growing up, I did watch a lot of horror films, and I did not like it.
Oh.
Because, you know, horror films like Hellraiser and Candyman and like Freddy Krueger, like those movies scared me as a kid. And because I hung out with my cousins who loved watching these movies, and they would like torture me by like watching these movies, and I didn't want to be in the room with them. And I had no choice because there was nothing else to do. So I'm like hiding under the covers. But growing up, I don't know, I started to tolerate it. It was Scream for me. Scream was like the gateway to horror for me. Like it was the reason why I started.
Scream redefined a lot too. I mean, that's literally what the movie opens with, right?
Yeah.
Or like that's so iconic, and the movie's about being horror fans.
Yeah.
You know, like
So I think that's what it started at for me. And then Sixth Sense kind of got me into like the supernatural horror. And then after that, it was The Ring, and then stuff like that.
Right.
So circling back to the Black Phone.
So you're kind of your experience was it kind of been hyped up.
Yeah.
My experience was Ricky said we should go to this movie, and we're seeing it. And I think it's about a weird cult or something.
Oh my God. I think my experience watching it with you was more fun than like the movie itself, because watching you react to the jump scares.
Yeah.
This is Brittany reacting to a jump scare. Whoa! Whoa! It's so fucking hilarious. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know you were a vocal like jumper.
Yeah. I didn't really know either.
Like we went to
It's
see
just,
Smile, and you were like that.
Yeah, no, I think as I've aged, my body has a hard time reacting to surprise.
Yeah.
So I literally like fly back in my seat, and I'm like, oh
my God.
whoa.
Yeah, the jump scares in the movie. I mean, if you're familiar with Scott Derrickson, like if you've seen Sinister.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen it? Did you see
No,
Sinister?
but I just said that. I have not. I don't think I've seen Sinister, but I've seen Insidious.
Oh, not the same.
Okay, I know it's not the same, but I think everyone mixes them up. Sinister, Insidious.
Right.
Tomato.
Okay, so Sinister like has the same like format, familiar like jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
He likes doing that. But yeah, I don't know if it's like a Blumhouse thing, but the way that it's done in Sinister is very effective. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I was expecting Sinister from this movie.
Sure.
Because in Sinister, there is actually disturbing scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And this was not it.
Is Sinister about like a family in a house?
Similar, but then
and
Ethan Hawke's in that too.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, so since I hadn't seen that and I don't know who's in it or anything, when I saw the Black Phone poster, I wasn't like, ooh, it's gonna be a horror movie, you know?
Right.
Did Sinister have like the poster where like a kid is like
smearing blood?
Yes. Okay.
And so that the poster is very similar to the wall in the basement and Black Phone. I think
great
that's
set design.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Great callback to your own movie. I was also not a huge fan of this little girl.
Oh my god. Unbelievable.
She was annoying. Oh my god,
That's what Bunny said too.
Oh, funny.
They like texted me and they were watching it and they were like,
no,
I cannot stand these kid actors. And I was like, what?
But overall, I still liked it. It was a fun movie, even though I had higher expectations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I watched it for the second time. And also, there's an Asian character. I got to give a shout out to,
fuck yeah, dude,
to Tristan Pavong, who is a Lao actor.
Oh, he's Lao?
And
I didn't even know that.
And he was the opening kill that was off screen pretty much.
Yeah.
But, you know, shout out to him.
Yeah, that was one of the things. Like, again, that felt just so like, because a lot of the reason I like the movie is because it feels like really warm and good to me. I know that sounds weird, but
it feels warm too.
I think the way they built the characters and they showed, what is it, the 60s?
Yeah.
It felt
70s.
really like 70s. It felt really familiar and like comforting. But that was like my, like right away in the movie, like the cool kid, the fucking like top athlete, the cool kid, he's like a nice person, but he's like super popular and stuff. And it was just cool seeing, like he was Asian and it was the 1970s. Like that was like a great way to like, you know, set up that character.
Yeah. I wish we got more of that character.
I know.
But I feel like a lot of the smaller characters like didn't get enough time.
Mm-hmm. But that's kind of what makes them valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Totally.
So let's talk about like some of the scenes in the movie that like stuck out to us.
Yeah.
Like, what was your favorite?
Well, the scene that like made me cry. Okay, so The Black Phone is one of those movies. It's like The Conjuring. When I first saw The Conjuring, where I felt like it gave me hope and horror again. Because it felt, and here's the thing, I like fucking 70s shit. Like that style, snap zooms, the way you, what do you call it, when you freeze frame? You know, like the beginning of Conjuring does that. Like that, like when that happened in Conjuring, I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like this is awesome. So The Black Phone felt that way to me. But like when I talk about heart, so my favorite scene is when Robin is this fucking badass. He's like Batman.
Yeah.
You get introduced to him. He's like beating the shit out of someone. He wears like a bandana and like a tank top with like a sleeveless shirt.
Yeah.
And in bell bottoms. He's just fucking cool. In the movie, you get to know him when he just walks into a bathroom when these like bullies are about to beat up Finney. And Finn is like the main character.
Yeah.
And he's just like, don't fuck with Finn.
Right.
And like they leave all timid and scared and shit. And then Robin's just like, hey man. And he's just like so confident. He's so fucking cool. So my favorite scene. So in the movie, every single one of these kids that's been killed is saying something to him of value that's going to basically help save him and help him get revenge or
do revenge.
Whatever, yeah. So when it's Robin, he's like, you got to pack that phone with dirt, give it some weight. I'm going to teach you how to punch. Yeah. And then so the shot is... It's like this wide shot looking at the both of them. Robin's on the left, and he's probably like, it looks like, I don't know, 6 feet behind Finn.
Yeah.
And then Finn's at the front. And Finn is like...
Yeah, they were social distancing.
Finn is like, again, these kids are like fucking geniuses. They're like such good actors.
Yeah.
But Finn has never thrown a punch. That's his thing. He's like, he's a fucking tough kid. Like, he's got a tough home. He's a good brother. He's a good friend. But he's someone that, like, he doesn't throw a punch. He's not that person where Robin is. Robin's like, you do something fucked up, I'm going to get you. Where Finn's like his opposite, but they're friends. Yeah. And so Robin's like, you gotta fucking punch. You gotta learn how to punch. I'll teach you.
Let's play a clip.
Oh, yeah. Let's play that scene.
Clip. You're going to use a weapon.
What weapon?
The one in your hand.
The phone?
Fill the receiver with dirt. Pack it in tight. Give it some heft.
Then what?
Then you practice. Over and over. You raise the phone. Take a fast step back. Step forward, step back, and swing. Try it.
Now?
Yes. You raise the phone. Take a fast step back. Step forward, step back, and swing. Again. You raise the phone. Take a fast step back. Step forward, step back, and swing. Again. You raise the phone. Take a fast step back. Step forward, step back, and swing. Again.
So when I texted Ricky the other day, like I want to like play this scene during the thing with the kids, and I had also like recorded it on my phone. I'm like, when Robin's teaching Finn how to punch, and Ricky just goes, "That part is so corny," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, corny. I'm sitting here like teary-eyed.
Oh my god. No, it was corny, but
whatever. Ugh.
Okay, now I see where you're coming from.
Okay,
because
so
that is, if you watch that scene by itself, it is pretty emotional.
It's so beautiful,
especially with the score underneath.
Yeah, and like there's no cuts. Like it's just so impactful, and like just seeing it, it was like I'm seeing something really beautiful. And I don't know, I also feel like a strong connection to, sounds weird, to kids and kids in horror specifically. Because, and the reason why I think The Black Phone was so successful, in my opinion, is because good horror, you treat kids like adults. That's the thing. You don't make them fucking like little kids. Yeah, and like really like helpless and weird, like whatever. And that's why Stephen King is such a good writer. I mean, I haven't read enough Joe Hill to speak on his writing, but Stephen King is one of the best writers of children because he talks about them as if like he's a peer. Like he's writing from a peer's perspective. Kids are fucking people. Yeah. I mean, they're kids, but yeah, so that scene, it was just like seeing Robin, and he's such like someone you admire and like would look up to, and he's a good friend, and he's like a good person, you know. And he says like a line in another part of the movie where he talks about like his dad being at Nam and like you never leave a man behind, like that kind of stuff. And then yeah, and then there's this part where he's like you got to get him. I can't get that little punta. Like he starts like going off, and it's like, yeah. And then so he teaches him how to punch. I'm not even like a boy who like wants to learn how to punch, but I understand like
sticking up for yourself.
Yeah, like that kind. I want to say like growing into manhood. That sounds really messed up, but I don't know how to articulate it. Like that doesn't sound stupid, but. Okay. Yeah, him teaching him, and then like that music, and like you're literally watching him learn how to hold physical power.
Yeah. At a very young age.
And like we have just watched Finney kind of be this like he doesn't say a ton. He just has this kind of pissed off look, and I think earlier in the film we see him kind of like walk out of his bedroom and see his sister getting the belt from his dad, and he kind of like he doesn't do anything, but he wants to.
Yeah, like he doesn't know like what to do in that situation, watching his like sister being beat by their dad. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's what it was like. When I said I wanted to see tortured children, I didn't mean child abuse, but like it was triggering to me to watch that. Yeah. I heard that scene was supposed to be worse.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I think they kind of cut away from like the actual beating.
Gosh.
But yeah,
I mean the belt's enough. Like we know.
Yeah, we get it. Isn't that Faraday from like
Lost?
God.
I'm like, wow, how far you've come. Also, that's what parenting was like. That's what it was like to be a kid.
Yeah.
Like even our generation went through shit like that. Like, and it's nice to see a movie that's like we're not afraid to show you real life.
So speaking of child abuse.
Okay, so yeah, he can't defend his sister. So there's so much just wrapped up in that scene. And Robin's also the last kid. So he's gotten all this information. Like the first kid is like a paper boy. Second kid is Bruce, right? Your arm is mint.
Wait, so there was a kid before Bruce?
Yeah, a paper boy that he didn't know, but he knew his name.
Oh.
And he got taken by the grabber.
Yep, that's right.
The grabber. And he, like, in those, so all the flashbacks are kind of portrayed on like 8mm film, it looks like, and in a lot of ways that's where his sister, who has a supernatural ability, which I love, very like
The Conjuring,
fire starter, like, anyway, but having some sort of ability that you haven't honed in and you don't understand, and being a woman. Ladies, raise your hand.
Shout out to the power queens out there.
Yeah, and I really like that effect. We can talk about that later. But yeah, it goes, I wish I remember their names. Paperboy, Bruce, and he knows Bruce. Or they met once, they interacted once. And again, Bruce is like the town fucking cool kid, right?
Yeah.
He's like the star athlete.
There was that other guy with the mullet.
Yes, and then it's like this fucking mullet boy who's like playing at an arcade, and then this guy messes him up from getting his tops. He's also like such an asshole. Like his friend's like,
yeah.
I think his friend is like one of the kids that Robin is beating up. The first time we see Robin, he's like beating up this guy's friend. He's like long brown hair. So you can tell these are like the tough kids that you don't fuck with, right?
They're like the seniors.
Yeah. And this kid has a mullet, jean jacket. Like he looks like a rocker.
He looks like Billy from Stranger Things.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's got like that look. And he's playing this pinball machine. And then some kid like bumps into him and he's like, what the fuck? And like he freaks out. And then he gets like put in a copmobile. But as that's happening, Finn's sister goes into it, blah, blah, blah. It's really cool. So we're introduced to him, and his like stuff is like a little bit more ambiguous than all the other kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the last kid is Robin.
Yeah.
Who told him about the fridge? Was it that kid? Was there another kid?
There was another kid. Because I know one of them like pops up and he's like
floating upside down.
Yeah. And he like points at like the combination.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yes, the kid who had a bike lock. One of them has a bike lock, and he's like, I don't remember the code, but I scratched it into the wall.
Yeah.
Getting back to Robin, that scene, I just like started crying. And there's something about like, and I think this is another reason I really like, like movies like The Goonies and shit, like seeing kids survive or like find the will and the power to survive. Ooh, I'm like gonna start crying right now. It's like it's so emotional. It's like that's like what touches my heart.
Yeah.
Like seeing kids stand up to adults. Damn, dude. We're gonna be talking about this in therapy.
Oh, damn. Oh, I really liked how they did that scene, like where he's kind of in the shadow. Mm-hmm. And it is kind of a little spooky because he is like a ghost.
Right.
And the whole time you kind of hear his voice, it sounds like it's coming from the phone, but he's like actually there.
Yes. All of the kids, when they talk, no matter whether you're hearing them through the phone or they're in the room, it's got that cool like phone sound. Yeah, I love that.
And apparently when they shot that movie, the kids are actually talking in another room.
Oh,
through the phone. Yeah.
I was wondering because like some of those scenes, because a lot of times when you're making film, either like the scripty or someone is like speaking off screen, but like not whatever, and the actor kind of has to like do everything on their own. And I was wondering when I watched that the second time, I was like, I wonder if this kid is like doing all this on his own, like talking to himself in his head, or if another kid is like talking on the other,
Yeah. I wonder if they actually, when they recorded the sound, they have like some way, like the sound was connected to the phone so that they could get the audio for that.
Right. Were there any scenes that stuck out to you?
Oh God. Okay, there's the scene that is kind of controversial because they're saying like it has like the pedophile undertones because the grabber plays this game called Naughty Boy.
Oh, right.
And basically like the grabber's intention is that he leaves the door unlocked so that the boy can escape, and then like this is part of the game, like that he wants the boy to escape so that he can punish him.
Right.
And it all ties back to like child abuse and like, but also like the grabber is kind of like this weird pedophile because of the game. I mean, he's like fucking shirtless. His
shirt's open. Yeah.
No, his shirt is not open. I think he's shirtless, right?
Oh, you're right. Ugh.
And it's like got this like,
I mean, he's got his own issues. He's clearly have daddy issues.
Yeah.
I think.
For real.
And maybe that's where this is all coming from. He had some weird childhood trauma, and he was also susceptible to being a psychopath or
but
whatever.
It's like never explained like why this character is doing this.
Right.
But, you know, who knows?
Do you want me to tell you what the book is like?
Yeah.
So I read the short story. It's incredibly short.
It's 2 pages long.
I mean, maybe 10 at most. It is short. The short story, just very briefly, only Bruce. Only Bruce is in it. Robin is not in it, which is a little devastating. But it starts with Finney being grabbed. And the killer is explicitly explained as being very, very fat. Like, very fat and bald. And the only thing that's, like, almost, like, scene by scene, like, the same is his brother does show up. And Finney's like, is someone here? Is that why you're, like, freaking out? And he's like, no, don't worry about it, da-da-da. And then he puts, like, the axe or whatever it is through his brother's head. Like, that happens. That happens in the short story. But it's basically just Finney. He gets, like, the guy says something like, he kind of says to himself, like, you kind of find out right away that the grabber is kind of, he's, like, not sure if he's losing it because he hears the phone ring.
Mm-hmm. How does it start off?
It starts off with Finney being taken. He, like, tries to, and the grabber takes him, and, you know, he's like, what the fuck? And the grabber's, like, just weird. He says the same stuff that he does in the movie, where it's like I'm not going to do anything you don't want me to do. Like, weird shit like that. And then he kind of makes a comment about, like, the phone, and Finney does try to, on his own, he tries to get out of the window that has, like, a grate on it. Doesn't work out for him. And...
Is the phone?
The phone is there. Only Bruce calls on it, though, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
And Bruce, here's the thing of Bruce. He didn't say your arm is mint. Do you want to know what he said?
What is it?
You play dirty.
Wow.
Yeah, and when he says it to Finn, like the flashback or whatever, is their teams are lined up, and he looks at Finn and he goes, "You play dirty," which is like a compliment. Mm-hmm. And Finn felt so complimented that he was too embarrassed to say anything back.
Oh.
He just kind of says, "Great game, everyone," to everyone. Like, he doesn't interact directly with Bruce, because it was like the first time he felt like, because it was like the cool kid just complimented him.
Yeah.
And it was like a cool compliment, like, you played dirty, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So yeah, Bruce calls, and Bruce is like, you gotta pack the phone with dirt so it's heavy, and then fucking, like, beat him.
Dude, that would make sense, because, like, the dirty comment and then, like, using the dirt.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Clout chasing.
This podcast is brought to you by Dirt, which is sponsored by clout chasing. You know, like cloud chasing.
So dumb.
So yeah, that's what's different. But I'm trying to. He does say, like, weird stuff, like, I'm never gonna hurt you. I won't do anything you don't want me to do. Blah blah blah. But he is the grabber. Like, he's killed kids, boys, specifically. And his sister is older, and she has nothing to do in the story.
Oh.
Finney is, like, trying to sleep, and he kind of has a dream where he imagines his older sister, biking around and, like, finding him.
Interesting.
But that's it. And like, I fucking love the sister in the movie. That's where we majorly differ. But yeah, I mean, it's a short story. And he kills the bad guy, like, or the grabber with, like, the dirt-filled phone.
So he does escape in the short story.
Yep. Oh, okay, so when he gets grabbed at the very beginning, like, that's how it opens. And the guy does spray some shit in his face that, like, knocks him out or burns.
He's like, ah! Like in the movie.
Right.
God.
The grabber, he's dressed like a clown.
Yeah.
And his balloons fly out of his van. And he's like, shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so Finney, when he's trying to sleep, that, I think he's only there for a night or something, or a couple nights, but he imagines his sister biking around and finding the balloons, because that's kind of the only clue out there. In the movie, she finds the balloons in a dream.
Yep.
And then she kind of mentions it to the cops when they're, like, asking her questions, because one of her friend's sisters had told the police, friend who got grabbed had told the police, was it Bruce's sister? Because it was,
no.
Okay. I had told the police, like, you know, whatever her name is, black balloons. And the police knew about the black balloons, but that was not given to the public. So they're like, how the fuck did that little girl? So then they go and, like, that's how she gets kind of looped in with the investigation.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Black balloons are creepy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
It's weird.
Well, the ones in the movie, especially because they have this like pastel
Yeah.
black or charcoal.
Yeah, like a flat, matte black.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we saw it in theater, you missed the part where like Finney
I did. Gets fucking grabbed. Because
he uses the balloons to like strangle him and
Lord.
throws him into the.
Yeah, in the book, he's like, "Can I show you something?" And like, I think he opens like a weird kind of clown box or something, and then like sprays him in the face.
First of all, if I saw that guy, I would have been like, "No,
Sir,
absolutely not."
Sir, you're driving a van.
You're in all black. You know, there's a serial killer around.
I know,
and it's like, okay,
but it's Ethan Hawke.
What does that mean?
I don't know. If I saw Ethan, no, I'm not attracted to him. Listen, his wife and his daughter, that's a different story.
Oh yeah.
Babes.
Yeah.
Babes with the capital B. And Maya is 24, so.
Have you seen Do Revenge?
No.
It's so good.
Oh, I'm going to watch it. I watched a trailer on Netflix. It's so good. Fuck yeah, dude. Robin, her character in Stranger Things, speaking of Robin, she's like 50% of the reason I'm still watching that show.
Yeah.
She's so good.
I love her.
Mm-hmm.
But what are we talking about?
We're just talking about.
Okay, yeah. If we saw Ethan Hawke, like, absolutely not.
I mean, yeah, if a man is in all black and he's at the back of a van.
His face is painted white. Like, that's kind of
Ew,
weird.
his face is painted white?
Yeah. Or, like, it's, like, smeared off.
You know
he,
what?
like, washed it off or something.
Why don't I remember this? I watched that movie again last week, and I still don't remember that scene.
Well, there's like a couple scenes. There's like the flashback scene, or not the flashback, the dream sequence that the sister has,
yes.
And he's like there with the balloons, and it's kind of like funny and like.
Oh,
awkward.
he's standing outside the house holding the balloons, and like waving or something.
Yeah, it's like
very Pennywise.
Yeah, I know. I think he has that look like when he grabs. Finney for the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe deep down, Finney knew.
Maybe
he knew, and there's like a part of him that was like, get me out of here, but then also like, I'm gonna fuck you up because I have this pent up rage from being a helpless child.
Yeah. Also, there was another part I wanted to point out was when Robin got kidnapped.
Dude.
Because, okay, it's also, here's the part that bugged me.
Mm-hmm.
Robin is seen walking into this like weird warehouse.
He looks like he's walking.
area.
If you've ever been to like a big store, like Costco or something, it looks like he's walking in the back lot.
Yeah. I'm like, where are you going, kid? And why is the grabber sitting there?
Yeah.
And how does he know?
So I think they deliberately did that, and because they kind of fade to black or whatever before. I think because it's going to be hard to believe that Robin got grabbed.
Yeah.
And so I think they were like, well, let's just like leave it up to the viewer.
Honestly, I think like they shot like scenes where they actually grabbed the kids. I went on Tristan's page, like his Instagram. He posted some unseen footage, like behind the scenes stuff, where he's getting grabbed by Ethan Hawke in the opening, but I think it got cut out.
What it looked like did you?
It was pretty similar to like the way Finney gets taken with the balloons, and
I could see Robin. Either he's back there doing something, or maybe that's his like shortcut home or something. Like I'm sure there's a reason he's like walking back there. Maybe he, I don't know, met up with his family member, friend, like who knows. And I think he would have. I think like maybe the black or the grabber had said something or whatever, and Robin's walking up to him like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Right.
You know, like something
sassy.
Something like
because he's Robin.
Because he's Robin, dude. Let's give Robin his own fucking movie, like for real.
Yeah.
Do you think did Robin's dad die? Do you think?
We don't really know
because we know he was like
parents.
in Vietnam.
Oh.
Because he says that, and part of me wonders if his dad died, and that's why he's kind of like built this persona of like the strong person.
Yeah.
Who like, you know what I mean, like kind of to like spiritually avenge his father's memory or whatever. Okay. I don't know.
Is he supposed to be like Native American or?
I think he's Latino because he says Punta. It's something like, and since I can't get the, and he starts speaking Spanish. He's like, since I can't get the puta, like he says something.
Okay.
Because he has long black hair that's straight, split down the middle, 1970s. Like he looks, but you know what? Technically, like if he's Mexican or whatever, like that's the indigenous peoples of America.
Yeah.
Both the Americas, like technically, like whatever. But yeah, he gets grabbed behind that store and And we only know Bruce gets grabbed. Bruce, that's the other thing. It's like Bruce is like smiling, like biking down that street. He's like the happiest kid ever. Like,
yeah, I know.
and then it shows his fucking, like, his flashback is like his mom and dad playing with him at a park when he's like a little baby. And you're like, damn, dude, like, so devastating.
I know.
Because I mean, he looked like he was an only child and like they just lost their baby. And he's like this happy boy who's like the fucking star athlete. Like, oh, it's so sad.
It's kind of weird that like they just threw it in there. Like,
I know,
you
they
see,
kind of
like,
did.
It's like, okay, we're getting like a small character backstory.
I know. I wonder why they chose that for him and not, I don't know.
Like the sports stuff.
Right.
Like, 'cause he was...
I could see it as something like they right away wanted you to feel sadness or something. Like right away to feel devastation.
Yeah, like,
you know? Like
the grabber like literally just took the life of this baby.
Yeah, like someone's baby.
Family, yeah.
Maybe that's what they wanted to do because what we need to know about Bruce is that he's a star athlete. And he's like a nice guy. That's all we need to know about him. But then like to help push the story along, it's like, by the way, here's his like loving family and like they're gonna be fucking devastated. So you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
Because the other kids, their backstories heavily tie into what needs to be told to Finn or what's going to be. Because like the kid with the mullet, the arcade boy, he does like that. Was he say like let's go or something and he kicks? And he's like it's on and he kicks.
Oh.
And like Finney has to kick the guy into the hole he dug up.
Oh, yes. Okay. I didn't know what those sound bites were like coming from.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they somehow all tie in together.
Yeah, because like the guy is like literally saying like some random shit, and I'm like,
yes, because we're being shown the little girl's like dreamscape with that scene. True. They tie it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and it actually did kind of feel dreamy because dreams are kind of like that. Like, you're kind of like, where am I?
You kind of project yourself into like this like 70s style film.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of like The Conjuring.
Yeah, totally.
Like, she like projects herself into these scenes.
Mm-hmm. Love The Conjuring. Yeah. Not a big fan of part 2. Not a big fan of part 3.
Definitely not. So I wanted to talk about the scene that kind of foreshadows the ending a bit. Well, not the ending, but like the character's ending.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the scene of the brother to the grabber, which we don't know until like when he comes down to the basement and finds Finney.
Yeah.
But like...
But we're introduced to him.
We're introduced to him when the cops come to this guy's house, who's played by James Ransone, who is also in Sinister. And basically, like, he wants to help with this investigation, like, trying to find, like, the kids. And he's got this, like, bulletin board, or not, yeah, kind of like a map of, like, the town of, like, where all the kids...
Like, have you seen that image from Always Sunny of, like, one of the guys pointing to... like that, like a bulletin board with like yarn pins like connecting everything.
Yeah, that's basically what it was. And like, you know, this guy comes off like kind of like he's like tweaking out.
Mm-hmm. Well, he is.
Yeah, and he is. And it's funny because like the cops don't take him serious enough, and then they notice like there's like a line of Coke on the table.
Yeah, the police leave and they're kind of like, all right, we're like not gonna fucking stand here and talk to this just like nut. And then they leave and he goes, oh damn it, what an idiot. And there's like 3 lines of Coke and then he sniffs it.
Yes. And then this is when the scene transitions, basically like pans down.
You're in the basement.
And you're in the basement and you see Finney there. That's like a dead giveaway pretty much.
Right. Because some films do that, and they'll connect rooms to totally irrelevant rooms just for like the cool like.
But I didn't notice that the first time.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
dude, we'll talk about that shit. Because even watching it the second time, I'm like, what? The fuck?
But like, did you speculate like this guy has some kind of connection to the grabber because of that?
Yes, but so when it panned down and stuff, I thought it was something where this guy doesn't know there's like a basement, but I didn't think this guy is the grabber's brother.
Yeah.
You know, like I thought it was more just like, you know, kind of like Barbarian. Like something where there's like an underground room.
Yeah.
Like, are they living in an apartment? Like stuff like that. Like I wasn't like, oh, it's a grabber. That guy lives with the grabber.
But then here's the other giveaway is like when Finney like finally gets out, he's like, you can hear the dog that's barking. That's the brother's dog, basically.
No, I think it's the grabber's dog. Because he has that fridge full of steak.
No,
but
it's
he
definitely...
yells at the dog. The
brother
brother
is yelling
He
at
yells
the
at the dog, but I think the dog is the grabber's dog.
Yeah, but then why was the grabber's dog not in like any of the scenes?
He was in the scenes.
Oh wait. It is the grabber's. It is the grabber's dog because he uses the dog to like block Finney from.
Yeah.
Or
whatever. Yeah, intimidate him, and he's this cute little Roddy. Little Rottweiler, he's so cute.
But no, like when he's like trying to escape though, why is the dog at the brother's place?
No, it's the grabber's place.
The whole time, like the brother is living in the grabber's house.
Yeah, he comes to stay with him, and that's why the grabber's like distracted in the beginning, and that's what, and the same in the book.
Oh,
he's distracted because he's like, it's like you just fucked me up. No, that's the thing.
I thought it was a duplex.
There's like identical houses across the street, and I think the little girl was seeing the house across the street. She wasn't seeing the right house, and so she's sitting at the house across the street kind of like waiting and kind of disappointed, like, you know, and then she sees her brother come out of the house across the street, and the houses look identical. I think that's what's going on. But him and the brother are in the same house. They're in the same house in the book, and like in the movie they kind of look through the house and they're like, all right, nothing's here, and then one of them's like, wait a minute, there's a basement, look, and they have to like move a fridge or something. And then that's where you find out, oh shit, that's where he is or something, you know? Or I thought
the fridge was when he gets into the fridge, right?
That's a different
scene.
Oh my God. See, we're getting day, I'm like still
we're getting our
scenes
locations mixed up.
Earlier in the movie, one of the kids tells him, you can dig through the fridge and you just gotta like get the fridge open, but the fridge is locked. The fridge is full of steaks, and that's for the dog.
Okay. Where's this fridge though?
I thought it was like a freezer, like in the basement.
In a different room? How many?
I don't know, man.
In a different house? That's why I'm like.
Maybe he did do something weird where he owns both the properties.
He owns like a bunch of properties because that would have been like the house next door.
Whatever. Well, he did say I soundproof this room myself, so it would make sense if he did some like a lot of like carpentry work or something.
Yeah, and that's why I thought it was like a duplex.
Yeah,
because like there had to be another basement next door for him to get into that fridge. But anyways,
yeah, it looks like a rambler house. I only see one door, and his brother says he's like, I knew something was up. I knew something was weird. He was hiding something.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is the New York Times, you know, wrote one of their like what to watch, how real life and fictional horror seeped into the black phone. And there's a line in here from Joe Hill where he says he started with a short story. Oh, the filmmaker started with Derrickson started with a short story by Joe Hill, which he layered with autobiographical material. And the quote is, I had been in therapy for a couple of years dealing with a lot of childhood trauma issues. So that's probably why, like, I think it feels like so, like, honorable and like so well connected to how you felt and how you feel as a child, and that's why they, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, obviously there's a lot of heart and like a lot of vulnerability that was put into the story.
Yeah.
And I love what they took from the short story and what they built.
Yeah.
Is so good.
Definitely. Yeah, like from hearing what you're saying about the short story is that like there wasn't a lot, but the movie really like expands that story.
Oh yeah.
And I do wish, I think they're planning a sequel, but I don't know how they would do that. Maybe a prequel?
Yeah, a prequel would be interesting. I guess this is supposed to take place 1978 in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was Colorado.
Yeah, but I think it was actually shot in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
yeah.
Spooky.
Ew. Wait, do we know?
I've been to North Carolina a couple times.
Spooky?
No.
Oh, because of Interview with the Vampire, right?
Oh, I don't remember. I figured that was like Louisiana or something. But Finney, in the book, his name is Finney too. And he's played by Mason Thames, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see where his career goes.
Yeah.
I really hope he doesn't have like a horrible child star shit. But I think he's super talented. I mean, he's really good at kind of telling you a lot without, you know, he has like a very domineering like eyes or something. Like, this sounds kind of bizarre, but like he's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Like, I love his voice and his sister. I think they're both just like so perfectly casted. Like they feel like really dimensional, like really well built characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and his sister, like, that was another thing like that really stuck out to me, and how like these kids were written as just people, not necessarily like little kids or whatever. His sister, like, I love how much she swore.
Yeah.
Like when she's talking to the cops and she's like, "No, you fucking idiots." Like, I love that. I love like that, you know, and that's where her and her brother like differ, right? Where Finn's like, "I'm gonna keep quiet." Like he'll talk back and shit, but for the most part, he's like, me and my sister are that way. When we were growing up, like, I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
I'd fucking spew that shit out. Where my sister was like, she was like smart about things, where she was like, "I'm gonna keep my head down and avoid shit."
Yeah.
I was the opposite, and I'm younger. And Finney's the older kid. So yeah, maybe that's just like a frequent family dynamic, is like the younger kid
Totally.
doesn't really take note the way the older kid does. But yeah, I love that. I think that's, I don't know, it just, and like if you watch, again, I'll reference the Goonies, because that's kind of like the movie of kids, but those kids swear and shit.
Yeah,
you know,
they do.
like, yeah, and they feel, and a lot of what like those kids are going through is like their town and their families might get torn apart. They might lose their homes for like an unjust reason, and like these like fucking asshole adults are like competing with them for gold, and what they're competing for is like their lives, essentially. You know, they're all gonna lose each other if they have to move out of town. Their parents are devastated. Like, they actually reference one of my favorite movies, The 400 Blows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Finney he fucking has that vibe of the main kid in The 400 Blows. Like, very stoic, you know? And that character, if you haven't seen that movie, it's a French film, you know, many years old. It's black and white, all that, right? You watch it in film school. It's like that movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Highly recommend. It ends really like iconically, where the kid like runs to the beach and then he turns to the camera and looks straight into the camera. It's so good. And that movie is kind of like loosely an emotional autobiography by the filmmaker. Yeah, he has the same vibe, and like his character in that film has a very abusive home.
Yeah.
So he kind of has this pensed up like angst.
Interesting.
And like he's like yearning for like freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to the black phone.
The black phone. So yeah, I mean, what are your like final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Overall, I still think it's a good movie. It's fun. And if you don't know anything about the movie, I think you will enjoy it much more. Mm-hmm. Don't fall into the hype, because that's what happened to me.
Yeah. And
I look forward to seeing more work from the actors, like career-wise. Ethan Hawke is amazing in this. And
I want to see him in more horror. I need to watch Sinister.
You need to watch Sinister. And I look forward to the sequel.
Yeah, one quick thing we didn't mention was his mask has different expressions.
Yes.
Like smile, frown, like creepy and weird.
And I love that, because like you don't ever see that. That's like new.
Yeah. He does have a fresh look.
Yeah. And it's like this devil with like a smiley face and like a sad face. I don't know. I don't know what expressions there were, but yeah. Yeah,
what's kind of interesting about his mask is, I guess it was inspired by another film. I can't find the whatever movie the mask was inspired from, but if you look online, there's like an old film, and that's where he got the idea of the mask.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find it later. Actually, drop it in the comments if you know which film
Yeah, let us know if you know, if we haven't figured it out by then. So I had told a friend of mine, we'll call her Portugal, and she has a young boy. I told her to watch it because she like loves being scared.
Yeah.
Like she loves horror movies and like she like loves being scared. And like, you think I'm jumpy, you should see that bitch in a movie. She's like shaking her legs and shit.
She's quivering.
Literally. So she watched it and she texted me the next day and she's like, I can't watch movies about kidnapping. I couldn't sleep all night.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, sorry. I'm like, oh shit. Like, I didn't think about that, but it's like you're gonna, like, you know, depending on where your life is and how things change, you're gonna start watching things in a very different way. Yeah. I don't have kids, so I feel like I identify with the kid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't identify with like the parents and like.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the biggest challenges was the grabber himself. I'm reading from this article on IGN. As the story described him, this is how the book is: an overweight clown, much like John Wayne Gacy.
Oh my God, yeah.
And when I was reading it, I
Basically.
did kind of get that vibe, and I had John Wayne in my, who was a little trickster too, but he was in my mind because everyone's watching the Dahmer show, so on Netflix, highly recommend. But
yes,
trigger for everything possible.
Yeah, for real.
Great. Yeah, final thoughts. This is a beautiful film. It is, I think it really honors horror and honors the kind of horror that at least like a lot of us grew up with or are nostalgic for. And like every film ever, unless you're someone who needs to know about triggers and stuff, go in without seeing anything.
Yeah.
But I would hope that if you're listening to this, I hope you hope you watch this. Isn't really like a, should I go see a movie? Let me get spoiled, but
Right.
yeah. So yeah, that's The Black Phone. That's what we thought of it. Let us know on Instagram what you thought. You can challenge our thoughts. Give it to us. We want to know what you think.
Yeah.
Let us know what we got wrong.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
Just like, are you Team Ricky or Team Brittany? I think the child actors were good. Okay, so Ricky, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at @somecallme_Ricky. What about you, Brittany?
You can find me at humble_book_reviews on Instagram only.
Love that. Well, if you enjoyed our episode today, check us out. Give us a follow on our Instagram page.
Engage with us. Tell us if you disagree. Tell us if you agree. Tell us if like we missed things that we should have talked about. And you can let us know like if you want us to talk about certain movies or shows.
Yeah,
or books.
definitely.
Books, of course.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.